Okay, so I've never done one of these before, but I've had requests a lot lately asking me to write a blog. And while I'd much rather do that, because I'm a much better writer and I hate myself on all kinds of cameras, this is much faster and I'm working crazy hours, so I don't really have time for the blog thing yet. If anybody finds this useful, I'll make some other videos. I've had a lot of questions about Da Nang versus Chiang Mai, so that can be something in and of itself if anybody actually wants to watch this crap. Anyway, mostly I've not found too many videos on traveling that have to do with getting lost, which is something that will happen if you travel. It's stressful, it sucks, and it's a great way to get to know a city real quick. Basically, especially if you're a solo traveler, even in a group, unless somebody's been in a different city or country that you're in, you're gonna get lost. Basically, expect it. It's gonna happen. You're gonna get lost. The biggest thing you wanna remember, calm down. Don't panic. Don't freak out, because when you do, all common sense goes out the window and it's gonna make things worse. Not a big deal. Remember, if you get lost, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? You wander around lost for an hour or two. It's not a big deal. You're not gonna die, hopefully. Just be smart about where you are, your surroundings, all that crap. Best laid plans, even if you've got maps, if you've downloaded apps, all this crap, you're probably still gonna get lost. And honestly, in hindsight, you'll find that it's actually pretty fun. In hindsight, I've been to, I don't know, 20 or some odd countries. I travel solo all the time. I've been to, I think, like 40 states, gotten lost driving, walking, whatever. I'm still alive. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. So, when you get lost, stay calm, use your common sense. I'm currently in Mother Russia. I just got to Moscow this morning, and I got lost this morning. But here you go. This is not a professional video, as you can see. There's Moscow. It's July, 29th? And it's kind of cold out. So the windows, let me see. Hi, look, there's Russia. Russia's actually really nice. That's a video in and of itself. Is what to expect in Russia. Oh my God, it's definitely an experience. So basically what you want to get used to is research everything before you go somewhere. Look up what kind of transportation system places have. Look up maps. Familiarize yourself with stops and what you need, how much things cost. You'll see a million videos about how expensive Russia is, or a bunch of places. It's really not that expensive. But I travel on the cheap. I know how to do this. As my friends would say, I'm very frugal. When it comes to me, I am. But this is how I get to travel. I don't spend a lot of money on food or entertainment. Well, operas, yes, but other things I really don't. But let's start with, okay, if you're traveling solo, which I highly recommend everyone does at least once, it's a lot of fun and you'll learn a lot about yourself, other people. It's the best thing ever. But if you're not used to solo traveling, try it within wherever it is you're living now. So if you're in the US, take a road trip. Don't be afraid to drive somewhere new, whether it's 2 hours away, 5 hours away, 18 hours away. It's fun. And GPS is good, fine, use it if you have it, but learn your basic cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. Look outside. If you see the sun rising, you know that's the east. If it's setting, you know you're going west. So if you know east and west, you know north and south, so you're fine. Now, when it comes to traveling within the US, if you've never been somewhere with public transportation, which it's not very common in the US, save DC and New York, places like that, go somewhere there. Learn the metro system in DC. It's super easy. It's clean. They have buses too. You can get used to that. go to New York, use the subway system there. I've been to Boston, but only driving, so I don't know what the subway system's like there. But just go somewhere and kind of explore. Take a day and just explore. Figure out how to use the maps. Figure out how to use the metro system or whatever public transportation they have. Now, if you're contemplating Southeast Asia, one of the best places in the whole freaking world, and I had a totally like opposite opinion of what it actually was. So I definitely learned a lot. They have what's called Grab, which is basically Uber, only about a fraction of the price. So when you use Grab, download the app on your phone. There's Grab Bike, which is my absolute favorite. It's somebody on a motorcycle. They come get you. It's way faster than any other means of transportation because if you go to places like Saigon, well, Ho Chi Minh City now, Bangkok, any major city, traffic can be horrendous. If you're on a bike, laws are like suggested. So if you're on a bike, you're gonna be weaving in and out of traffic. Yeah, it's just fast. Super cheap. Like going from Mai Kea Beach in Da Nang to Bana Hills, like 27 kilometers, so about 22, 23 miles, was $4. So it's super cheap. It's more if you use a car, obviously. Now in places in Europe, almost every place I've been to, with the exception of Iceland, but that's not mainland Europe anyway, they have a very good transportation system. Prague's metro is awesome. Paris has a really good metro. Greece. I didn't really use the transportation in Istanbul. They also have Uber though. In Russia, it's amazing. They do have Uber. I haven't used it. It doesn't seem quite as fast, but the public transportation is cheap. It's like in St. Petersburg, it's 40 rubles to use a subway, 31. To give you an idea, 100 rubles is about $1.60. So 50 rubles is 80 cents. Do the math, 30 rubles, fraction of that. So it's really cheap, and once you get to know it and how to use it, it's exactly like the subway system that you'll see or the metro that you'll see in DC. They've got the different lines, different numbers or colors. Go to the end of each line, look at the name, and that's the direction that you're going. So if it says Dmitry Square or something is the end of line number 9, then that's the way you want to go if you're going south. You just have to look at the map and see where you're going. Now, buses, same thing, just look for the bus stops. This is where common sense comes in. So this morning, I got in at 4 in the morning from the train to St. Petersburg, and coming in, I had screenshots because I don't have GPS. You can get SIM cards of each country you go to and then download GPS and then use Google Maps or whatever app you have to try to find your way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're like me, I travel too many places too far. I'm not gonna buy a SIM card every freaking place I go. I'm fine with just finding things out my own way. I don't mind getting lost, it gets annoying, but it's not a big deal. So this morning the metro hadn't been running yet, so I decided to get on the bus. It came, I jumped on. I can't read the stops. Some of them are in Russian. Then I realized that in Moscow, they have the names written in English as well. In St. Petersburg, not so much. But when I got off at one stop, I asked a guy who doesn't speak English. I just showed him my map, my screenshot. I pointed, this is where I'm trying to go. And he went to the map that was on the bus stop and said, no, you're here, way opposite side. All right, so I got on the wrong bus. Common sense, if I'm going the opposite direction, cross the street and take the bus going in the other direction. Just know that whatever side you're going on, the other side is going to be the opposite side. Also be very aware of your surroundings. Have a landmark. Look for something that you know if you see, you'll remember. So when I got on the bus, I made a mental note of what the area looked like. So that way, if I needed to go back to the train station, even though I didn't plan on it, I at least kind of would have my bearings. Another good way to know the city, hop on, hop off bus tours. It's not, you won't know the entire city that way, but you'll pay, like you can go on Viator or Get Your Guide. You'll see a ton of pop-ups on those. I did that. I went to Paris the first time I went. It was only for 24 hours. Yeah, whatever. It was $200 round trip. Yeah, I'll go to Paris for 24 hours. It's fine. Um, but when I went, I did the hop on, hop off bus tour, and you see where all the buildings are. And again, look at where something is, make a mental note. Oh, that's where this is. Oh, and the Eiffel Tower is right behind it. Cool. It actually came in really handy the next year, which was last fall when I went to Paris again. That time I went for a week. And I happened to remember from that hop on, hop off bus tour where things were. So it was a little easier. And this time I was more using the metro. The first time I was only there for, like I said, 24 hours. I didn't need the metro. But then I got used to using the metro. I'll actually be in Paris in, 2 or 3 days. So it'll be even more different this time. But if you use Airbnbs especially, that's where you really want to ask questions. So remember, especially if you're going to another country, when you use an Airbnb, the people who are renting their apartments are locals. So in their mind, they don't know if you're coming from the US, what you're used to, what you're not. So they'll say, oh, okay, go to door N6. Well, what the hell are you talking about? The apartment was on top of, like, the first floor was nothing but stores, which is fine. But there was no entrance. I couldn't find the entrance to the building. You had to go to the back, walk all the way around, and apparently there was a million different doors. I went into one. The apartment number wasn't there, so then I thought, I wonder if it's another door. And the guy didn't speak English. Most people in Russia, from my experience, don't speak English or don't speak it that well. They use Google Translate, that'll become your best friend, but they don't, and they shouldn't. I never go to another country expecting people to speak English, because it's not their country. Why the hell should they speak anything but their own language? So ask your Airbnb host as many questions as possible. I don't care how annoying it gets, just let them know, it's like, hey, I'm not familiar with the area, what should I look for? The girl that I talked to was actually pretty helpful, but there were still some things that, like, I got off the metro station and I walked up. Now, mind you, it's 5 in the morning, there aren't a lot of people around, and I look up, I'm like, all right, where the hell am I? There are no street names, no street signs. According to Google Maps, it's really close, and it was. All I had to do was come up from the station, look to my left, big old building, there it was. It didn't take me long to find the building. I asked some ladies in the street where I was, and they pointed to the building. As long as you have any address that you have or you're going to, have a screenshot on your phone or have it written down, have something you can point to show people. That will help immensely, because that way they can at least point you in the right direction. It saved my life in Japan because it took me forever to find my hostel. No one spoke English, but whole other video about culture differences. But there, man, let me tell you, they didn't speak English, but they were gonna make damn sure that I knew where I was going. They're so nice. So I love Japan. So always have your addresses ready to go. You want to be really careful of using cabs. They know who tourists are, you'll get ripped off. So basically, I'm not going to make this a huge long video. Have all addresses written down or screenshots on your phone. Do some research about the public transportation. Ask questions of your Airbnb host, as many as you can. Say, hey, I always ask, is there a landmark that I should look for so I know where I'm going? Because sometimes hosts can't meet you. Sometimes they do. Sometimes you're lost and they have to come find you. It happened to me in Istanbul. So just be aware of that. And most importantly, don't panic. Worst case scenario, you're lost and annoyed, you'll be fine. You'll find your way. Panicking does not help. It's just going to freak you out and you're not going to think clearly. So just basic stuff like that, and you'll be fine. Getting lost, honestly, once you get to your destination, you'll realize it's actually a really fun way to have memories. I don't know. But It'll be fine. Don't be worried. Go get lost. It's fun.